Hi everybody, let's talk about this part of my standard elevator project. This section I believe is some type of ventilation or maybe dust collecting or system. Those two big openings are not really windows with glass in them. They have slats in them, so they're open, for ventilation. Maybe the slats are to keep birds out, I'm not sure. But anyhow, if you look at the bottom part of it, that's obviously looks like it's made out of something different. So going back to the Sanborn map key, you notice that it says that items made out of brick or buildings made out of brick are in red. So let's look what it says about this building when it was Marfield Mill. So two things of note here. Number one is look at the width. The width of the building, which is red, so it's brick, is the entire width of the elevator beside it. It also says that it's one story, which is the little number one in the corner. So this was the original building when it housed either a gas engine or a steam boiler. So in this picture, you can see that the bottom part of the building is definitely different than the top half, which looks like it's some kind of metal siding, maybe 4x8 sheets. You can also clearly see the slats in that top one. This is probably the best picture I've got of that building. Also notice how deep the door is set in the bottom part, which means that's a really thick brick wall. And it looks like there used to be a window or a door or something there that was filled in now. So that's what I chose to model on my model. Here's that section when they were tearing it down. Pretty obvious from this photo that that was a brick wall. And you can see that the door, how far it's inset into it. So on my model, I decided to make the bottom part brick and the top half the metal siding, just like the real one was. Here's looking from the back side, looking down from the top of the concrete elevators. You can see that the brick building, original brick building, was still there on this side with the steeply slanted roof. The thing they built on top of it did not go the entire width of the elevator. So I had to model that portion too. And it looked like there was a window and maybe a door. It's very, very difficult to see on this back side. All right, we're going to do the shaky cam here. Try to keep it steady as I can. You see down at the bottom, I've got brick. I just basically cut with an X-Acto knife around where the window might have been plugged in. It's not the greatest. The door is not set in as deeply as I would like. For the siding, basically first, I'll show you something I tried to do first, which did not work. First, I tried to actually cut out 4x8 sheets. That did not work at all. That was a bad idea. So eventually what I did was I just took the one piece and I just scribed lines in it, 4x8 sheets. I marked them and scribed them with the back of an X-Acto knife. I think it looks pretty good. What I'll probably have to do is eventually glue this to the other one to keep having any gap. This side, of course, is not going to be seen at the very back because the warehouse is going to be there. And for the back side, I've got the steep roof, door down there, and I put a blocked in window. It looked like that window, you couldn't see through it. Maybe it had been blocked out or something. Of course, this side is up against the warehouse, so I just had to put stuff on it so it would be, well, part of it is visible here, but I needed a spacer to space it out the same way, so when I do glue it on there, it will be the right thickness. So that's this building. Again, the warehouse is going to go down here. I'm not going to start the warehouse right away. I've got some business travel coming up. I'm going to be gone quite a bit. And it's travel where I can't really take things with me to work on it as much as I would like to. So I'm going to probably start that maybe in April, start the warehouse. So I do have a question for you guys. So when I do the warehouse, would you like me to do it like this, where I just sort of build it and maybe have a few tips along the way, and show you the result? Or would you be interested in doing like more of a step-by-step thing? I've sort of hesitated about doing that because there's so many good scratch builders out there in styrene. I've talked about Boomer all the time. So the techniques that he uses are really good. So, but if you're interested in it, I could do more of a step-by-step and probably do a lot more filming on it. So let me know in the comments. And, if it seemed like quite a few people would like to see that, I'll go ahead and do it. But this will be the last standard elevator update you're going to see for a while. I'm going to try to keep doing some operation videos and film them in advance, but I won't be able to work on the standard elevator until probably again in April. So everybody stay safe. Let's have a little discussion. I had a subscriber comment on one of my videos that he's thinking about building a switching layout and wanted to know if N-scale was better than HO scale. He said he's had several people tell him the N-scale isn't any good for switching, but mine seems to run pretty well, and so he just wanted to get my thoughts on it. So this is my opinion. You can agree or disagree, but I chose N-scale because basically when I first got back into the hobby, I had 3 reasons, and this is what I told him in my reply. First of all, I had a really good friend that was into N-scale, and I used to be an N-scale years ago. Also, they had introduced sound, good sound in N-scale, not like they had a long time ago. There was just like a generic sound. ESU lock sound is good stuff. And finally, I had very limited space. I had a 16-inch by 72-inch window that was because it was going to go over this piano behind me when I was in a different room, and that's all the space I thought I was going to have. So HO, that would be pretty small. If I had the room that I have now, I may have chosen HO, and that's what I told him. I think HO is probably better for a switching layout. Yes, mine runs pretty well, and I'm really happy with it, and I'm flattered that most people think it runs well. But in HO, you have a wider variety of equipment available, locomotives and rolling stock. It doesn't seem like it sells out like it does in N-scale. Maybe it does, but it seems like there's more of it out there available. The advantage of N-scale is I think you can make larger buildings, and trees can be larger in relation to the trains themselves. I've seen layouts where like somebody will spot a boxcar at a building that's the same size as the boxcar. It's like, how realistic is that? And N-scale, I think you can do a better job of that. So both scales have their strengths and weaknesses. But if I had this space right here, starting from scratch, I would probably have gone to HO. I don't consider myself an N-scaler. I consider myself a mono railroader. And I'm going to choose the scale and the, scenery, the type of layout based on my interests. And I like switching layouts. And, financially, I think it might be a little bit easier in HO scale. So, anyhow, those are my thoughts about it. If you want to reply to it, agree, disagree, whatever, feel free in the comments. And hopefully he'll read the comments, because he's at the place where I was a few years ago when I chose N-scale. I don't know his financial situation. I don't know how much space he has or anything else, but I don't think there's anything wrong with HO scale at all. There's a lot of advantages to being an HO scale, especially I think when it comes to a switching layout, if you have enough space. Just my thoughts. So let me know what you think. Everybody stay safe.